Oh, so obviously the stream must be working because I've got a comment. Hi Richard. Yeah, so obviously if 2 people have commented it means it must have sent out some sort of notification. I'm a few minutes early. I was planning at starting at directly 8 o'clock. I had everything all set up and ready to go. So I thought I'll start now. I might actually swap this Alpenflage cap out for another cap because this one's got the weird brim on it that's not actually got anything in it that keeps it in place. So it might keep going down over my eyes, and I could turn it around sideways. Let's just try it backwards and see if it still looks okay. Right, yeah, I'll have a backwards Alpenflage cap on then for this stream. Which sword on the wall? There's a katana over there, there's an arming sword. So a bit of good news is that the last couple of days, I was saying to people about this yesterday, but it seems YouTube's actually recommending my videos a decent amount again. So it's where, you know, all the views have skyrocketed again out of nowhere, which I'm always happy with, but it seems strange why they do it now and again. I don't know if it's because there's been all the watch time on the streams. It could very well have been that. But yeah, it looks like I've gained something like 90 odd subscribers today, and I gained 154 subscribers yesterday. So that's pretty good numbers. Alright, good luck with your studying. Cool, what did you cook, Peach? Alright, cheers. Glad you enjoyed the videos. No idea I'd even pronounce your name, sorry. I've not had a very exciting day today. I probably have over 100 masks, but not all of those are identical masks. I've got about 90, maybe 80 to 90, I'd say, different ones, and I've got a couple of duplicates of certain masks. Yeah, not a very exciting day for me today. Got up fairly early for me today because the shops were back open today. So I went to Sainsbury's. I bought some coffee in Sainsbury's and some stuff for my mum because it's her birthday coming up soon. So I thought I'd get her present sorted out today while I was there. Then came back here, got a load of sort of boring chore kind of minor jobs done. Did a video. Sounds good, Peach. Yeah, just got a video filmed today. The one I filmed today was on body armour. Obviously ignore all the shoulder pads and everything on that armour, but it was that armour. And it was about sort of, you know, some of the really weird myths and sort of legends almost, or crap people come up with about you know, gas masks. Not gas masks, armour even, sorry. Mate, you're going to have to read the FAQ if you keep this up. You're not going to be commenting on this very long because you keep asking very, very sort of FAQ questions. That's cool. How are you planning on doing that? I mean, obviously I know it's wine, and so I'm assuming you're going to homebrew it, are you? But what are you putting in it other than honey? Are you putting any spices in it or anything? I'm not going to get the GP7 down now because obviously it's connected to all the armour up there. Do you mean re-euthanized rocks? That's a real shame if that's the thing. That sounds good, 6 of spades. It's right there, Callum. You can see it. Yeah, I like mead. I've tried different types of mead. I've never done the home-brewed stuff, but I've tried a few different brands of mead. Some of it's quite nice. Yeah, I saw that, Richard. I gave that video a like, but I didn't bother leaving a comment because didn't really know what to say because I just saw that a few minutes before I did the stream. Right, good evening, I am the typer. The one we used to get, I think, was called something like Norfolk or Broad something Winery. But the problem is I don't think they actually do mead now. The company still does wine, but I think they downsized the amount of different wines they did, and I don't think they do fruit wines anymore, sadly. They just do like traditional wines, where they used to do mead and like strawberry wine and all that sort of stuff. That's cool, Mike. There's a video I've got Callum on all of the activated guns, but if you want the quick list, Lee Enfield, L1A1 SLR, I've got an RPK, an M1 carbine and a PPSH, but you can only see 2 of the rifles on the actual background. But yeah, well, what was I saying? Yeah, so it was a bit of a boring day today, really. Filmed the video earlier, and then I was just mostly, I think, watching films and documentaries for most of today while doing some minor work. Yeah, there's the Law and there's a few other quite good launchers on there. Well, interesting looking launchers anyway. My favourite deactivated gun's probably the L1A1 SLR. The most I paid for one was the US M1 carbine, but I find the L1A1 a bit more interesting. With a licence, yes, but you have to own all the right licences for it. Well, there are ranges, but as I've said before, the reason I've never got into it is there's not really any ranges near me for proper rifle shooting. There used to be. I think the range is still there, I just don't think any gun clubs use it anymore. Callum, just check my channel because you keep asking for stuff that's on videos already. I've had them set up before, Mace Windu, but at the moment, no. Because what I bought is I bought a Belgian, I think it was, like, really good military rucksack thing. I got it ready to set up in a video to do a bug out bag, and I've not got around to setting up the video yet for it. So when I get round to making that video, I'll fill it up. The MP5, the Polish one, isn't visible. It's in a carrier on the shelf over there, which you can't see. That's a Steve Gorman VistaVision, if you're looking at that one. No, I'm not going to bother getting any out at the moment. Yeah, this is the old Swiss Alpenflage ones. The reason I'm wearing it backwards is because if I wear it forwards, the visor on it, or whatever you call the front of a cap, the peak is it? That's really kind of flimsy on this cap, so while it's a nice cap, the visor's not very good. So, you know, if I have it around the front way, it will keep just drooping down in front of my eyes. So if you look up Swiss Alpenflage, it's a camo Switzerland used from somewhere like the 1950s or 60s until the 80s or 90s. Something like that, you know, they used it for a few decades during the Cold War. It's that camo pattern, the one that's like the German older camo pattern, but with a few bits added. I don't know what you're asking, Aaron, because I've seen a couple of questions from you, but I've not seen the original question, so I think it deleted that. So I can see you, so if you ask your full question again, then I might be able to answer it, but I can't if you're just asking, oh, what mask is on the bow limb? That's the Bulgarian PG1. It's hanging not from its actual straps, it's hanging from like the weird neck carry strap thing it has. Yeah, thank you, Constantine. Reminder to everybody to like the stream. Yeah, well done for remembering. I hadn't remembered yet. So yeah, don't forget to like the stream. It helps me out. We've got 31 people watching at the moment. So if we could get around 30 likes, that would be good. I'm not expecting to get that many, but we'll see. Let's see if I have 5 this page now, what it shows me in terms of that. Let's have a look. Just looking at something else. 21 likes, so that's not a bad amount of likes so far. But I'm sure we'll get some more in a bit. Oh, it's because it's a what do you call it? Panoramic lens mask. That's why it looks like that. Yeah, Swiss Alpenflage is surprisingly cheap. I was expecting it to cost a fair bit, but in the UK you can often buy the shirts and the trousers for like £10 to £20 each. So you could probably buy a full Alpenflage set for less than £50. Yeah, S10 works fine in most NBC suits. It depends. Some of the stuff I couldn't do Mace Windu just because obviously you can't legally take a rifle and all that sort of stuff into the woods. Because remember, we're not America. There's stuff I could legally take into the woods, but there's also not a good bit of woods near us. And I think I wouldn't be able to go camping in the woods near us because I think it's like woods you're allowed to walk through, but it's not, you know, for that sort of stuff. If that makes sense for like the different sort of land permit kind of things. I guess I'm trying to think of the proper word for it. You know, when it's like private property, and sometimes people do certain rights on their private property, but not other things, if that makes sense. The US M40 mask, or do you mean another M40? The US M40 mask is alright, not as good as an S10. I did a video on it comparing it to some of its contemporary masks. It's definitely not a bad mask, but there could be some serious improvements made with it. Well, I don't think the GP7 works well as a mask in the first place, but it should work in most NBC suits, yeah. I actually ought to watch some Bob Ross, because I've never watched him. I know he's the painter bloke, wasn't he an army veteran? But, yeah, I've never actually watched his stuff. No, not really, I'm afraid, for Russian camo. I'd say just look at eBay and see if any Russian camo is for sale. In the UK, it's not an orange tip. It's that the airsoft gun has to be 50% or more a bright colour if you don't have a UCARA. But the laws around it are very strange because there's certain things where you may not be subject to the law, you may be subject to the law, and a lot of it's to do with people selling you the stuff, not necessarily you owning it. But I'm not going to speculate on all that because obviously, as you see, disclaimer down there. I really don't like to get into the territory where I try and give people legal advice, you know, on very sketchy laws, in the sense that they're very vague, because obviously that can be quite a bad thing to do. If somebody takes your advice and then it turns out something you said to them wasn't quite right. I'm going to delete your comment now, Marcus, because again, you've not posted, it wouldn't let you post a link anyway, but again, if you tell him to do something like that and then he does it and he gets in trouble, you'd be responsible for that. I've got some quite old binoculars, but I don't think any of them are military ones. Yeah, that's fine. The laws on it are very there's like laws we've got on it where they conflict with themselves. So one law can tell you it's alright to do something, then another one can say it's sort of not. And that's why with particularly airsoft laws, I really don't like it when people keep saying like do this or do that, because if you go into several of like the gov.uk sites, they actually conflict with each other. I've got a clone of a US M1 helmet. It might be a Norwegian or a Swedish one, I'm not sure. No, because I don't actually have any vintage, like, military binoculars. I can't recommend you any Milsurp ones. I'm sure there's probably some decent ones out there, but with things like optics, they're the sort of things where modern cheap optics are probably better than surplus ones, unless they were very high quality surplus ones to begin with, just because of how optics advance. I think I've missed a couple of questions, so if you want to repeat any of them, you can repeat them. But I've had quite a lot saying, would I buy a certain thing, would I not buy a certain thing? Yeah, that's the merchandise mug. If you want one like this, there's plenty available. Just look below. The only Russian thing I've got is the SS Leto camo, that's not like old Soviet stuff. And I've got one of those stripy vests, but I can't remember what they're called. Completely depends on the helmet. The most mass-produced helmets are probably under £20. The much rarer helmets would be over £100. I'm trying to think, do I have any Romanian stuff? I don't think I actually do. I don't have any Romanian gas masks. I've got a Romanian car, but that's not surplus. So no, I don't have an air pistol. I've got a couple of airsoft pistols, but that's technically a different thing. I mean, I wouldn't mind buying inert cartridges with things put in, but not if they're lying about why they are. Yeah. It's more like a pen round, to be honest. That's a bad joke. Right, yeah, Marcus, you can definitely legally own a firearm in the UK, but as we were saying earlier in the stream, it's all to do with different licenses and things and what you do with it. I'd rather you didn't ask a political question, Constantine, hence why there's a disclaimer down there. Yeah, you can own BB guns, airsoft guns and all things like that. They're on the walls behind me, Tris. You can clearly see them. I have no idea what you're on about, Mr. G. They had the MM1 mask for a lot of the Cold War. They also had the PMG2, there's one of those behind me, and I think the SHMS for tank crews. But again, not everything in the Soviet Union was completely standardised, so you will find pictures where some of the crews are not wearing matching equipment. As much as it should have been, you know, everything should have been matching. It seems different batches were done for different things, so obviously if they were really reservist tank crews, they'd probably not have as good stuff as like the more frontline ones. I've got Hearts of Iron 4, but I very rarely play it. I've played more. I've played a lot more Hearts of Iron 3 than 4. I've got Hearts of Iron 2 and Darkest Hour, but I haven't played all that much of those. So Hearts of Iron 3 I've played more than any of the others. And I've played more Hearts of Iron than any of the other Paradox sort of grand scale RTS games. No, I fold my shirts, Mr. G. You know, like fold them properly and put them in drawers. I wouldn't roll them up randomly. I obviously have tried vodka, yes, and most other spirits. The M2000, as far as I'm aware, Tris. The M65, the old mask I used to use, is that one up there. The one that's like a brown, sort of dark green colour, next to the SLR. But in terms of what they're using now, I think it's called the M2000, but I don't have one in my collection, so I can't comment on if it's any good or not. No, sadly I've never been to Russia. I've been to Finland and seen the Russian border, but that's as close as I've been. €17 a mask, or all 30 for €17, or all 30 for €20 essentially. If it's all 30 for €20, yeah, that's pretty good. A single GP4 for €20 isn't an awful price, but you know. No, I've not got any bandoliers. As far as I'm aware, other than the fact the Hungarian one probably won't have Cyrillic on some of the writing on the mask for like stamps and things like that, the only main difference should be the, like, you know, the voice diaphragm cover. It's got more holes in the Hungarian one. They're like more smaller holes for some reason, but it shouldn't make, you know, much difference. If you got a size 2, you know, Russian one, the size 2 Hungarian one, I don't think there'd be any real difference between the masks. I've had roasted sunflower seeds before, but I'm not a fan of them. I think if they were done to not be so salty, it might be alright, but when I've had them before, they were like really, really salty. So much so it just tasted like you're eating a bag of salt. Can you set the quality down, Alexandra, or have we already got the quality on really low and it's still buffering like crazy? But yeah, that sucks if you've got bad internet. Yeah, there are Romanian gas masks, but I don't have any. That's probably worth €50, Tris, but I don't know much about World War II uniforms. So you might want to look on places where people actually, post about the prices of those more often. Out of all the swords I've got, the falchion, out of all of the pole arms and everything, the billhook head Richard Weaponsmith did for me. But when I get the glaive from him, that might change, you'll have to see. They're fairly tough, the hoses, but it depends. If you bought a modern one, then no, it should be pretty hard to break it. If you buy an old Soviet one, it might already have rips in the hose, Yeah, I like pumpkin seeds, I like flax seeds as well. There's a lot of those seeds I do like, it's just sunflower seeds always seem to be the ones where if you buy them, they put loads of salt on them. And I have a feeling that they're ones that can be like quite hard to bite through as well. Like where they cut your gums a bit if you get a slice of it. Well, that never happens with pumpkin seeds. What are some of the other like really small seeds you can get that are quite tasty? I can't think. No. But like the ones where you often buy like mixed bags of fruit and nuts, and they put like some of those seeds sort of in there. Should be lots of S10s on eBay. It could be sesame seeds, Mike, but I don't think it was, because I know sesame seeds and poppy seeds are pretty small. But there's one that you can get which is a bit bigger that's often in those sort of things. I'll have to actually have a look into that. Unless they're like particularly small breeds of other versions of seeds, like small pumpkin seeds or something. I have no sugar in my tea, no sugar in my coffee. A little bit of milk. Because somebody brought up seeds. Yeah, thanks, Rich. Out of all the masks I have, I'd say the Soviet SHMS. Viking Unknown. No, I don't play guitar. Out of all of the masks there is, either the US Mickey Mouse masks or the World War II US optical masks. Yeah, as I've covered many times, MLG Pug GP5 filters contain asbestos, so don't breathe through them. Oh, we had a chat earlier where it was getting away from me and I couldn't keep up with it, and now we've not got many questions coming through. So yeah, ask questions if you want to ask questions and just repeat them if I don't get round to answering them. Let me have a look at how many people have liked the stream so far. I had somebody moaning at me saying, oh, it doesn't make a difference if people like the stream or not the other day, but it obviously does, because the more we ask people to like the stream and that, the more people seem to watch them. In the chat, Z10, there's a guy called Richard Weaponsmith, and he does forging, so he can make stuff. Yeah, I've got loads of knives, Aussie, but all the ones I've got are legal. So if you look on my channel, there's lots of videos of them. Depends which kind you mean. Do you mean like little pocket knives, or like military knives, bayonets, that kind of thing? I've got all sorts. Oh, sorry, Billy Blood. I've seen you've made that comment a few times and never got around to answering it. All over the place, as you can see, some are hanging up there. I prefer not to do that with masks, though, because that can damage them if they're hung up for ages. But most of those masks aren't worth anything other than the Vista Vision. Lots are in satchels, on shelves, or in cupboards. I've done a video on how I've stored most of them anyway. Yeah, well, I don't really care, Richard, because I'll be happy with it, because I don't want those things for what I want in a glaive. I've not broken any myself, no. Right, milsim as in military simulator style games, or milsim as in airsoft paintball kind of things? Because that could be a very different topic. Right, Rox, you're getting a timeout for that because it tells you not to bring up politics and you've just done it. What, things like armour? I like armour too. I never really got into armour 3 though. No, I've never been scammed, but on eBay, because you buy from me, because I always get most of my stuff from eBay. If you buy stuff on eBay and it doesn't turn up, you get buyer protection. That's one of the reasons I like eBay. Alright, Stu. I had to think it was you for a second, because you've obviously shortened your name, haven't you? Well, bayonets with spring mechanisms, as in where they lock onto the rifle, are fine, but obviously bear in mind you can't legally carry that around on you. You can own one in your house. I'll try and explain what I mean. So let's say, right, this Swiss bayonet, right? You've got this bayonet, and like most bayonets, it has a system over here where obviously you've got the spring kind of system to keep it, you know, locked on or off of a rifle. That sort of system. That kind of spring's totally legal, but obviously you couldn't walk around carrying a bayonet on you because you don't have a legitimate reason for carrying a bayonet on you. But if it was some sort of knife where it was like a spring or something where you pressed a spring and a knife shot out, that would be illegal, whether or not it's a ballistic knife or it's like a knife that flicks itself. Because with knives like this one, where to open it you have to physically flick the blade out, that's legal. So see with this one, it's got a flipper there. If I do that, the blade comes out and locks because I've pushed it. As in I've pushed the blade, you know, with my own finger to open. Because obviously, as you can see, this is just a sort of pivoting blade. And then if you do that fast enough, it opens and locks. If you don't do it fast enough, it doesn't open and lock because it's done under finger pressure. So that's perfectly legal. If I had a knife like this though, and it had a button on it, say I pressed the button and then the knife shot out and locked, that would be illegal because it's what they call a spring assisted knife or something like that. As far as I'm aware, mate, they're completely illegal. I wouldn't really ask any more questions on that if that's alright. I don't have any serrated bayonets, no. No, I'm guessing it's some sort of wood or plastic, but I can't really tell. No, I wouldn't know without seeing it what kind of bayonet it is, Pizza. Chat's moving for me, Mad Max. To make sure that you know how to open the filter properly before putting it on, because otherwise you could suffocate and it won't protect you. What do you mean on the knife laws and agreeing with what my opinion is on UK knife laws, or what UK knife laws currently are, or what they're changing them to? Yeah, most of them I get from eBay. Again, hardware stores, if they have RD40 filters in, aren't a bad place. Yeah, like I said, I agree. I'll have to follow all the laws because it's a law, but it doesn't mean I agree with all of them. And as I said, a lot of the laws are very strange. You know, where it's saying if you had two knives and each of them, I don't think this one's blade is actually under 3 inches, but it'll be a good example. Let's say this was under 3 inches, just for the sake of argument. It really seems stupid to me that the blade with a lock on it is the one that, you know, is you need a justifiable reason to carry. Whereas a penknife you don't, because it's actually safer to use a knife like this. You're less likely to cut your own fingers, because obviously when you open it and it locks, it's much harder to close it on your own fingers or whatever by accident. Yeah, don't forget to like the stream like he keeps reminding you. So has anybody done anything interesting today? As I've said, I've just got like a video filmed and did a bit of shopping and did a couple of sort of chores and tidied a few things. I've not done anything too exciting. Yeah, I'm not wearing a helmet this stream, Shot Zombie. I've just got the Swiss Alpenflage cap on because it's at least something. But Oh, that's good, Stu. I did see the Armex Tomcat 2 was back in stock because somebody told me about that. But I didn't actually order one, annoyingly, because basically what happened was when I put my Blades and Bows order through, I wanted to get one at that point and then they'd sold out. So you know, obviously now they've got it back in, I don't know if I can be bothered to buy one again and then pay for postage again. Yeah, right, you've had your warning, don't do it again, Rox. We have the disclaimer there for a reason. So, you know, I think a lot of the time when people don't follow the disclaimer, they're doing it on purpose. I'm trying to think with knives. I've got custom-made swords and, like, billhook heads and things like that. But I don't know if I've got any custom-made knives. The only knife I've got really close to a custom-made one is that really strange Bedouin knife or whatever it is that we showed on an earlier stream. I'm not going to get that out. That's cool, Constantine. Was that just in the river? Right, I'm going to look forward to your video, Mike, when it's up. I know you said you've done it now, but is it up? Because when that's up, I'll definitely watch it. Oh, there we go, Weapon Collector uploaded. Weapon Collector's car boot sale finds in the chat. Uploaded 29 minutes ago. Right, everybody, if you don't watch Weapon Collector's videos, he's in the chat. Watch his videos, because you'll like him if you like mine, most likely. So I'm definitely going to watch that one and leave a comment once I've finished doing this stream. No, all my knives are just normally stored in this room, to be honest. Obviously kitchen knives are stored in the kitchen, but not really. I mean, although the humidity can be quite high in the UK, I've never had problems with regular knives just corroding in rooms, as long as you wipe them down when you've finished using them. Ah, that's very good. $1 a filter and they're still sealed and in date. Yeah, I'd have bought loads if I was there. Glad you still enjoy it, Mike. But yeah, I like obviously giving you a shout out because you're one of the main channels that influenced me on here. But yeah, I'll actually find that quite an interesting video, the car boot sale one, because like we said, we've chatted a few times, haven't we, about what's at our local car boot sales, if we bother going to them and all that sort of stuff, so I find that quite interesting. No, I mean, that might be a funny video to do at some point, Aussie, like actually try and demonstrate using like things like a K-bar to cut veg or something like that. But again, I don't normally. I always use kitchen knives because they're properly built for that, aren't they? No, I've not read the Metro books. I've read Roadside Picnic, which is obviously the book that influenced Stalker and all that sort of stuff. As in the video I've watched the most times, or the video I've uploaded that's got the most views? Which one, Mr. G? Because I can tell you my one actually easier than I can tell you what I've watched the most times. That's the Bulgarian PG1. It's an M65 clone. It's a bit better than the original M65, but it's not as good as the Israeli M15. Now, if you read the FAQ thing, Aussie, you'll see I'm medically unfit to serve. So other than reading lots of the old sort of manual type things, no. Yeah, I'd love to live by the ocean. I think for me, polishing stuff more often would be worth it. But yeah, I can see why it'd be annoying for some sort of maintenance. But it's particularly the salt water, isn't it, that does that. Not necessarily the moisture in the air, but the salt in the moisture. No, my channel is completely clean rocks of strikes or anything like that, because my channel is totally legit. As I said, if you read the disclaimer, I don't do anything illegal. I don't leave people nasty comments, because, you know, if somebody offends me, I just, you know, ignore them, really. So yeah, you know, all my videos are completely legal, sensible things, so yeah. No, I've never had any problems with anything like that. Yeah, M45 masks are pretty rare, aren't they? Can't you substitute it for a GP5 shot zombie and hope they wouldn't notice? I have no idea of all these questions about knives, Ozzy, but I'm going to stop answering them if that's alright, because you are asking me nothing but questions about knives, and it's getting a bit boring for me, to be honest. Especially because, again, things like tactical knives are a bit, you know, vague and stuff like that. But anyway, my most viewed video is probably still how to zero an air rifle scope one. Let me have a look. But that's one that actually did get demonetized because air rifles are apparently, you know, not advertiser friendly or something. Yeah, my most viewed video is how to zero an air rifle scope, and that was made in 2013. It's got over 1 million views. My next most popular video has 860,000 views. But top 10 scariest gas masks, that was made in 2017, so it's not quite 2 years old, because it was made in June 2017. That has 841,000 views, sorry, not million, 841,000 views. So that might start overtaking some of the other videos within a couple of months or something, depending on the rate of growth each video gets. I don't see anybody that's off. Probably die yee, like most people would. Alright, B-Ben. A French M51 maybe, Russi, because they're not very expensive. You're not allowed to discuss stuff like that, Johnson, with YouTube's like agreement type stuff, so I'll delete your comment, don't mention that again. Probably a GP5 or one of the Polish MC1s or something, because a lot of those cost like £4, £5 each. I'll have a quick look on that, but I don't like to try and open too many apps while I'm doing one thing like streaming, because sometimes I'm a bit worried that's going to crash the stream. I don't know why. I don't think I've ever done it before, but I know when I've been playing video games on stream, that's not always the best thing. Right, let me have a look at the Discord thing. Oh yeah, that's very cool. But I'll close Discord now because I don't want it to get any messages while I'm trying to stream. Because it's a limited supply surplus thing, Nate, and it's not a US mask. It's supply and demand. It's not a very complicated thing. I don't want to sound like I'm being condescending about that, but the less there is of a mask in existence, and especially when you're not in its country of origin, the more it's going to cost. Either like what they'd call breakfast tea, which is just basically black tea, regular black tea, Earl Grey's alright, green tea's alright, but yeah, I'd say just like normal, what you'd call like black or red tea, which is, you know, just strong tea basically. If you want to see the mug again, Mr. G, there you go. If you're interested in any of the merch, it's down below. If you look at the Teespring link, it says My Teespring Merch. You click on that, then there's the storefront where you can see all the shirts and all the things. And you can change the colours if you wanted to order it in a different colour or whatever. pretty sure I'm subscribed to PewDiePie Rocks, but I don't really watch his videos very often. I'll watch it when he does like a strange or sort of unusual video, but when it's just playing games, I've not really got any interest, to be honest. Well, technically there aren't East German masks, or do you mean like Soviet things in East German carry satchels and everything? Because East Germany, I think, other than industrial masks, didn't domestically produce anything. They just imported them and like repackaged them from other Warsaw Pact countries. Alright, I've been pretty good today, Mike. I think so far today I've only had, I think, 4 or 5 tablets in terms of painkillers. I had obviously all my like chronic illness tablets, but I don't think I had a tablet when I first got up. I think after a couple of hours I had to take 1 painkiller, and I think I managed for a few more hours before taking another painkiller, and then I think before I did the stream I just took 2. Just, you know, because I had a bit of a stomach pain then, and I was thinking, well, I don't want it to get worse while I'm on the stream and I have to call the stream short. But today's been quite good compared to some of the recent days, because I've been managing, you know, on much lower doses of the painkillers, which I said during the PM is what I want to do anyway. But we're going to probably bring it into a miserable chronic illness stream again, aren't we, if I keep bringing that up, so I'll try and avoid it, and I'll just PM you stuff about that if you want. What have you got, a paracetamol or an aspirin or ibuprofen? I've got quite a few watches, but I don't really collect them. Nate, the NVA is National Volksarmee, as in the East German Army. It could also be North Vietnamese Army. The acronym's used by a few things, but I think Shot Zombie is referring to the actual National Volksarmee, or however it's pronounced. The East German Army. Well, in the UK you're going to be paying £60+ for a lot of them now. You might be able to get some less than that, some are like £40, but let's say you bought a S10 in the UK for like £40 to the £60 range. That's not going to be too far removed from $100 anyway, so that's not too expensive, as I've said. And then obviously it's a British mask, not an American mask. As I've said, if you want to get an S10 style mask, get an FM12, because it's a better mask and they're cheaper now, due to there being more available of them on the surplus market. Ah, that's very good, Richard. No, I don't know what that is, Junebug. Yeah, £25 for an S10 is very good. That's the price. They used to be a lot more, but the price has slowly been going up over time. Yeah, the thing is, over time, lots of masks go up in price, some go down in price. So basically, if it's a limited production run mask, although the S10 was made for like 20 odd years, what you'll probably see happen is you'll probably have a regular amount of them hitting the surplus market at some point, and the price sort of stabilises. Then as the supply starts drying up because it's no longer in production, the price starts rising. And then that's sort of what you've seen with the S10 over the years, is that they've gone from being like 30 odd pounds on average to being maybe £60 if you want to buy one quickly. But again, you don't have to pay that much if you're willing to wait and find one for a better price. But then I get people that go, oh no, the S10s only cost that much because you made all your fans buy up the supply, you're ruining the gas mask hobby. I think they mostly use whatever they were handed, Callum, by China and the Soviet Union. So if you see pictures of them wearing masks in the conflict, most of them seem to have surplus Soviet and Chinese masks, and some seem to have like homemade masks, where they've got things like shower caps and put charcoal in them and then put them over their mouths. If it was cheap enough, Nate, yeah, but I've got the Lee Enfield, so I don't really have much use for another deactivated bolt action. Right, 34 people watching, so we're still getting quite decent numbers on, yeah. I don't think you missed anything, Richard. I said that's good about your hand, though, if that's healing up. Yeah, the main problem I've had, Shot Zombie, is just the insane postage a lot of modern Russian sellers want. And I've said before that, you know, I've bought parcels from Russia and Ukraine before, and, you know, had to pay £5 or less postage. And then there's some sellers going, no, it costs me $30 to send it, friend. Why are you not prepared to spend $35 on the postage? You know, and they're doing that on top of like the $50 to $100 sort of starting price for some of the masks. So I'm not paying like the entire mask's price again on Which one's the Mag 1 mask? Let me have a look. Hello, comrade. Would you like to buy a mask? The ones that are coming up at the moment look like 3M masks, strangely enough. Unless that's the optical insert thing, so I'm thinking about optical inserts. Yeah, exactly, it's that kind of thing. Alright, thank you, Constantine. If you remind everybody, that helps me to remember. But yeah, if everybody likes the stream, that seems to help them get shared more. And at the moment, my YouTube channel's had some of the most views per day in the last couple of days, and it's had for like months, so that's really good. I think that's mostly because I've been doing lots of streams and that again. So let's have a quick look on the thing and see how many likes and everything I've got at the moment. Sounds like I'm on Facebook, doesn't it? Oh, click the like button, click the like button. I've got a Scott M97, but not the M95 Junebug. Do you mean like a zip for a coat, Mike? Like a zip for a coat or a bag? Because yeah, 50p I could imagine paying, but not 50 quid. I don't think your comment popped up, Alexander. No, it didn't. You have to repeat it. But rephrase it slightly. The thing is, if a seller is charging very little for the actual item, and then the price of the postage makes the entire package a reasonable price, it doesn't bother me. It's when they're charging what you'd expect them to charge for the item initially, and then they're completely ripping you off on postage. That's what I hate. I don't know what you mean by the metal gauze on the C3. My C3's got metal bands that hold the things together. Like, my older British masks have the, like, kind of tape stuff, if that's what you mean by gauze. I've got a Discord for patrons only, that you can see in the Patreon link below. Hello, if you're just joining. I'm going to go a bit over an hour tonight, but I'm not going to do a full hour and a half stream, or probably a 2-hour stream tonight. That doesn't avoid eBay fees though, because you're still done on eBay and PayPal fees for that. Because I've sold quite a bit on eBay over the years, and you won't get around it doing that. It just makes you look bad as a seller. I think it's because if you list, I think it's because on some ways, if they list it via price lower, your thing will show up even though, but I think that's why they do price plus P&P lowest first now, so people can't get around it. GP5's fine for what it is. The problem is all the filters from long since expired and contain asbestos. I can tell you the exact date, Elite SAS. Let me check my channel. Right, I'll click the uploads thing. It's probably still a couple of weeks away, because was it a week or two ago we filmed it? Or I filmed it. French riot armour tests, May the 15th, so that's up like 3 weeks away. May the 15th is Wednesday, so it's Wednesday in 3 weeks' time. So still a while to wait, I'm afraid, on that one. I was quickly checking a couple of things because I've got the random things where YouTube's put like silly things and whatever. Right, yeah, I should be back in just a second. Hang on. Right, I can see the comments again. Which video you on about, Nocturnal Mafia? If you mean the one with the rebreather in one like my most popular videos, it's because the air tube thing wasn't connected right. Obviously because I wouldn't actually use rebreather with the canister for the obvious reasons of safety. So when I put it on, it's not going to let any air in or out, and because rebreathers sit really tight to your face, it was actually quite hard to pull it off when there wasn't any air coming into the mask. If that makes sense. But unless you understand a lot about respirators, that might not make sense. But basically the simple thing is there wasn't enough air getting into the mask, causing it to vacuum to my face. CT12 I prefer, FM12 is easier to buy, and the FM12 would suit most people better. I've done videos on stuff like that, Z10, so just watch the videos, because it's going to really depend where you are and what's available at what prices. I must be showing my age, but I have no idea what that word means, Nocturnal Mafia. Yeah, I've not had the comment, Alexander. Oh, I actually then, there's one there. I tried printing adapters for the 40mm NATO thread. I tried 40mm to 3M bayonet. There were issues, plastic too brittle, thread breaks, obviously unreliable seal. Yeah, it sounds like it's not worth doing then. If somebody's talking to somebody else, by the way, in the comments, I'll just mention this because a lot of people don't do it. Make sure you do the @ symbol and type their name in, because YouTube then highlights to them that you're talking to them. But if you're talking to a random person, you don't mention their name, I have no idea who's talking to who in the comments, so I can't really respond to you if you're actually talking to me. It's generally easier to tint the lenses you've got using like the stuff you can stick on the lenses, because with most masks the actual tinted outsets are pretty rare. I've already got an M17 shot zombie, and opening a PO box would cost me hundreds of pounds a year, so that's not worth doing. And because of UK law, I think I've mentioned this before, if I opened a PO box and people started sending illegal stuff to it, I could be also getting in trouble for it. So I'm definitely not going to do that with the sort of people I get trying to chat with me on YouTube some of the time. $1, Russell, if it was Russell. And if after like a while you want to cancel it, I don't kick people off the Discord, I only kick them off of that if they're being abusive to people. Because there are people that come on there to start trouble, as I've said before. Oh, £40 for a £150 recurve bow, that's very good. I'm going to go on Blades and Bows at the moment. I'm not going to buy that, but I might just see if there's, you know, I think any of my friends might want, just to send the link to them, if that's the case. Is that the £150 thumbhole recurve crossbow? Yeah, that's probably worth it, isn't it? It's a brilliant price for a crossbow. I've already explained this loads of times, Johnson, but basically the outserts crack and fall apart with age because they're thin bits of plastic kind of stuff that's been coated with this stuff, like the anti-fog stuff. So over time they basically become useless. So there's no point me doing a video on it, because basically all I'm going to be showing you is how to get splinters in your eyes, and I'm not going to advise people to do that. I think if you really want to look it up, there's some channels that have already done things on it, but because it's likely that somebody would hurt themselves doing that, I'm not going to show people how to do it, because I don't want to get in shit because, you know, some little kid puts the inserts in their GP5s. You know, yeah, I know the ones you mean. The night vision, the active night vision that needs the IR thrower lamp. I know the ones you mean. I've got a modernised version of one of those though that fits in my pocket, so I don't need the old Soviet one, as cool as it be. Yeah, ARP Warden, there's a Patreon link below, so anything people pledge, then once they've pledged the money I send them a Discord link. And as I said, if they then cancel it after a month or whatever, they can stay on the Discord, I don't care. The only reason I kick people off of the Discord is when people start harassing other people on there, which sadly enough seems to be happening more and more at the moment, because of whatever stupid feud is going on with different gas mask collectors. I really don't know what it is, but apparently I'm in the middle of this for some reason. Yep, that sounds about right, because it's a cheek filter mask. Sorry about that, Kiki Pizza, but what can I say, it's a cheek filter mask. $1, as I've said about 3 times now. Yeah, because you don't shitpost too much on there, do you, Shot Zombie? The only people that have been kicked are the people that keep doing illegal stuff, and they're, you know, told repeatedly not to do it, and then they want to carry on doing it. Or the people that are trying to kind of do this weird psyops type thing, where they'll say one thing on my Discord server, and then somebody will screenshot them doing something else on another one, trying to start arguments with people. If that makes sense. So, like I said, most people I'm not going to kick off of there, because even when people like to be a bit of dickheads to one people or another, you know, that's mostly freedom of speech. Like I said, it's the only people I've got annoyed with on there, to a decent degree, are the ones that are doing weird kind of trying to start internet shit flinging fits, and also illegal content. Well, I talk to people on there, if that's what you mean, yeah. PPS 43, probably Tech Storm Dark Vision. I like quite a lot of the World War II SMGs. If anybody does join the Discord, I'll have to set it, or joins the Patreon, sorry, I'll have to set that up once the stream ends, because I can't really be multitasking, trying to read these or trying to send out invites, but... Now, East German gear is sort of actually interesting to me. Do you mean experience? I don't know. I broke my arm when I was quite young, and I broke it like that, my left arm. And the bone, it was compound fracture. 2 of the bones came out like that. I can't think of any questions about East German stuff off the top of my head, unfortunately. That's alright, Richard. I'm not going to be streaming for too much longer, because I did quite a long stream yesterday, and I've been doing loads of streams recently. Although I'm trying to do a daily stream at the moment, I'm not necessarily going to be doing lots of them for much more than an hour. Which camo's that? I know you've got the rarer one, so it obviously can't be Strictan or Striketan, however it's pronounced, Strichtan, because that's the common one. Although it's in different colours and it never seems to be consistent. As I've said before, I'd love to go to Chernobyl, because I find the history of the whole Chernobyl incident very fascinating and all that. But I'll just repeat the quick summary of what happened. I was planning on going a couple of years ago with my dad, because we were both interested in going. The same year we were planning on booking was when the Ukrainian Civil War, Russian intervention, whatever you want to call it, happened. Lots of those sort of holidays were cancelled, so then we thought we might do it at a later point, and we've never got back to doing it. But yeah, thank you for reminding everybody to like the stream. Yeah, like the stream, everybody. At the moment, Archie, my favourite camo is probably Soviet SS Leto camo, also known as Partisan Summer, I think. But I also like Flecktarn, I like MTP. There's lots of camo patterns I like, but that's probably my favourite one, SS Leto, at the moment, because it's probably the most effective woodland one. Let me search that. I'm very interested in that one, and if you don't have it. Is that similar to SS Leto? Because there's some pictures of like what looks like SS Leto coming up, and then there's lots of just random camo patterns coming up when I Google image that. So what I'll probably do later is if you can post a picture of what it looks like on the Discord, I'll be able to know. Right, yeah, let me search that. M49 camo, yeah? Oh yeah, that's more the thing. That's interesting. Yeah, that's weird looking, isn't it? It reminds me a bit of that Finnish camo. The one that they've got on Viva Strauka or whatever it's called. But it's weird because some versions of this, you can tell it's the same pattern, look really different. Like some versions look like a Yugoslavian camo I've got, but other versions don't. This is strange. I don't know if it's because it's reversible and all that sort of stuff. Bren gun was apparently very good. Bren gun was more closer to an automatic rifle than it was a machine gun. The idea was it was just like a light squad machine gun rather than being a proper machine gun. My granddad spoke very highly of it because he served in World War II. Although he didn't use a Bren gun, he said it was like his favourite of all the British small arms. I've not heard, you know, ex-soldiers say bad stuff about the Bren gun, so I'm sure it was very good for what they used it for. Now that's a shame. Yeah, they just dyed it black and then issued it as a prison uniform. That's a real shame. No, I've not heard of that legendary knight. I think I might have said the French M51 mask to you, because that's an interesting mask. No, he had a Lee Enfield as his issue rifle, but it was Royal Artillery. So obviously their main thing was originally a 25-pounder, then a 17-pounder. But obviously you were trained to use rifles and that, because you'd have to use that to defend the gun from infantry attack if that was needed. I think that's just that they're of very high particle quality, isn't it? It's something like that. From what I understand, they're literally just particulate filters, but they're, you know, like the best quality particulate filters. But again, I don't know if there's any real difference or if it's more of a marketing scam kind of thing. Right, I'll probably go for another 5 or so minutes on the stream. And then I've got stuff to do, and I'm a bit tired now in all honesty, because I didn't sleep all that well last night, because like Saturday night, Sunday night I was awake quite a long time with ulcerative colitis pain, so it was, you know, trying to sleep through it, taking some more painkillers, trying to sleep, you know, rinse, repeat until I eventually fell asleep, and then I got up early this morning. So I'm probably going to head off fairly soon, but if I get some interesting questions I'll read into them. Alright, see you, Stu. Thanks for coming on. As I've said before, Nate, don't give trolls any attention. That's what they want. Can I do an Australian accent? No, I can't. That probably sounds awful. I think the risk that you'd buy a contaminated as in a radioactive gas mask are incredibly low. I've heard a few people have had issues where they've bought masks that haven't been decontaminated properly, and they've had like dried CS powder on them, and that's really upset their eyes and like made them cough and sneeze for ages. because you know obviously where they use them in like CS gas tests. So you know that I can definitely understand. But alright, that's alright, Mike. I'll watch a film then if I can stay awake. Yeah, I'm cutting down on painkillers as well, Alexander. I don't have any with caffeine in themselves at the moment because all mine are prescription ones rather than like multi-mix kind of, you know what I mean, ones. Yeah, I've had a lot less painkillers today because I had quite a lot last night, and the thing is I definitely, because I'm obviously chronically ill, I want to take the least amount of painkillers possible, because the issue is obviously the more painkillers you take, the more you build up a resilience to them. So you then need more and more painkillers to actually deal with pain. So today's been one of those days where I've just been like grinning and bearing it as much as I can with a lot of you know, stuff, just so not, you know, not run my supply down. My favourite mask is the Avon CT12. The thing is, I don't know if is onion juice actually flammable, because CS gas is actually quite flammable, which is one of the main risks from it. I can imagine, yeah, World War I masks actually might, because they were used in a conflict where gas was actually used. I could imagine as well, actually saying that, Shot Zombie, if you got Chinese or Japanese masks from World War II, there might be a chance that they've been exposed to things like mustard gas or whatever. Due to the fact that chemical agents were actually used quite a lot by the Japanese in World War II. But yeah, for the most part, when people like on about modern Cold War masks or whatever, there's like no risk in terms of you know, there being chemical agents on the mask, other than maybe tear gas if it's one that was used in training and not wiped down properly. Something like 100 Crusader, around that. No, the FM12 is the version with the drinking tube. The CT12 doesn't have the drinking tube. For most people, the FM12 is a better choice. I just personally prefer the CT12 because it's lighter weight and it doesn't have a drinking tube in it. There's lots of modern cheap Chinese masks, that being one of the examples of it, although I don't think that's necessarily a modern one. It's one that's sold very cheaply on eBay now and again. Some of them are good, some of them are pretty bad. I'll finish this stream off in a minute actually, so we'll go to 1 hour and 10 minutes. So if you haven't liked the stream so far, give it a like. Don't forget that if you are interested in the merchandise, it's not just mugs, there's shirts and whatever as well, that's below. It's not just the Mark V design, there's a GP5 one as well, and everything. So yeah, have a look at that if you're interested, and I think I'll be finishing the stream off now. Right, thank you everybody, and I'll see you all later. Bye.